Hello and welcome back to the workshop, where today we're joined by Steve Purves from Accurascale to have a look at a really quite impressive selection of new products. Now, Steve, you've obviously been very busy lately. We're seeing the announcement of the new batch of Class 31s.
Yep.
The second run of the PTAs have just been announced as well. But there's a lot of things actually ahead of those, aren't there, as well?
Yeah, so this is sort of a shall we say, a small sample of what we've got going through our desks at the moment. And it's just a case of catching up from stuff that was started before Chinese New Year. Now the factories have restarted again, and the stuff that's being pumped out is just phenomenal, really.
Yeah. So, of all the models that are on here right now, and I know you say this is a small selection,
yeah.
You've literally filled that out. What's first off the list that's actually due to arrive?
So I think next up we've got the HTVs, which are in transit now. So by the time this video goes out, they should be with customers or starting to land with customers. And then the Class 60s, followed by the Class 37s and the 31s, PTAs that we've just announced, and so on. But yeah, the 50s are also up there. I was seeing that one because it's right in the middle of the mix. Yeah. But yeah, the 50s are also in transit. So that's another thing that's going to be landed on your doorstep.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of things that are literally in containers on the way across from China at the minute, haven't you? So yeah,
there is. I think there's about 3 separate deliveries at the moment, all in transit. Yeah. So it's going to be an expensive couple of months for me.
Yes, a busy time at Accurascale, obviously. So talk us through the HTVs first. So obviously they're on the way now. You've got 2 different body styles, and we've got actually quite a different variety of liveries here as well.
Yeah, so the way we structured the HTV project from the outset was we wanted to cover the very earliest 21-ton hoppers, which is the grey type with the 5 ribs on the side, through to the rebodied HTVs, vacuum fitted, which also then gives you the private owner stuff and the engineer stuff, the ZDVs. Yeah. So you get a real good spread of liveries. But what we've left for future runs is the big bite of the cherry in the middle, which is the crossover between the 5 rib and the vacuum brake. So that's another thing that we can come back and do. But at the moment, we try to cover the start and the end and a fair chunk of the middle as well.
Yeah, because these fit with quite a few of your locos now as well. I mean, fit with Class 31s, the 37s. I think actually even some of them went into the BL Blue era, didn't they? Yep. 37s as well.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they were obviously the rundown of the vacuum brake fleet in the 80s, early 90s. You know, that was when they started finding the way off coal traffic and into departmental use and private owners. But yeah, they do run with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, some of the rebody ones actually were down in the West Country on the stone trend as well.
Yeah, so they were uprated. They were 25-ton hoppers, so they've got a slightly beefier spring, but a bit of paint and that was it. But yeah, they gained the Mendip Stone logo on the side, and so there was a bit of crossover there with not only the other wagons in the range, but the PTAs as well. And as well, we've got the ICI pack, which cross over at Lost Stock Works, obviously with the ICI wagons, which we haven't got here today, but also are in transit now. So there is an awful lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and obviously the ICI and the NCB ones, they're going to fit in really well with your Andrew Barkers as well.
Yep, so there's a crossover there. The NCB ones, where they also ran with similar liveried HEAs and wagons, and there was an internal user thing, but there was also an 08 there. Prior to that, there was a pannier tank, which we can come back and do in the future. And there's all sorts of, we try and map these things together that we can build a range.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So one of the things that actually stands out for me particularly, because I've always had a bit of a fondness for these, actually is the first sample I've seen of the 37.9 as well.
Yes, it's a bit nice. And yeah, I recently had the pleasure of spending a few hours around the 37.901 at Leicester. And obviously the 37 wasn't my project from the start, but it's one of those that while I've been there and I've appreciated the differences and the sound, and for my project being the Class 60, there's the crossover there with the Merleys power unit and so on. So it's something that to see that there and the detail and the detail differences, quite exciting.
It is, yes. It's a strange thing because it's still a 37, and really it's a roof panel that's different. Yeah, and the exhaust obviously, but the sound that a 37.9 makes, especially without the silencer on as well, is fantastic.
Yeah, I will confess we did have a play at Leicester with it, and it was good fun.
And I'm hoping that the sound file for that is going to be without silencer as well.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. So that's in the process of being done now. But yeah, the sound file, the early draft of the sound file that we've got certainly conveys that slug.
Yes, slug, exactly, yes. And hopefully with the slow takeoff when you open the power controller as well. These important details for 37.9. Not that I'm obsessed.
No. There's a good friend of mine sent me a video, and he was in the back cab of 901 at, where was it? Up at Peak Forest. And it was just a full power standing start, and the audio is just phenomenal. It's great stuff. We've managed to lift things from various sources, plus fresh recordings that we've made as well on the loco and on the main line. So thanks to UKRL and ROG and everybody for that as well. So it's
and that's part of the second run of your Class 37s, isn't it? So there's quite a lot of variety coming there.
Oh yeah, the second run is really split between the 9s and the rest. So you almost have to look at it as two separate runs in one combined unit, So
one random 37.7 for a certain key publishing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course you've got your own there in the mix too. So there's, again, in that second run of 37s, we've got just one loco on the layout today. Yeah. But it's a huge amount of product coming through, and again, something for everybody in all eras.
Yeah, I think actually, looking through the range of what you've done for the second run of 37s, it's nice to see some of what I'd term to be the sort of the minor celebrities from the late 90s, early 2000s, like 37 408 lot.
408, I mean, that's...
West in gold. Had a great trip on that on the North Wales coast with an eight coach set of Mark IIs and second 37. Two ETH 37s in December with no ETH. Yeah, that's great.
But that's all the fun. And that kind of is the appeal that we seem to be reaching, and it's appealing to people like you and I who experience these things and have got those fond memories. Yeah. And you see the model and it's an instant pre-order because you got it's got to be one of those.
Remember that. Got to have that. Yeah, absolutely. So then moving on, then we've got a latest sample of the Class 60 as well, mate.
Yeah, so this one, again, slightly battered. It's been around. This is one of the earlier samples, but this has now got the final production sound file in it. The final production samples are en route to me now, and then they should be shipping out very soon. But it's this one more is a case of let's see what it sounds like. Yep. It's again, that's a fresh recording. We recorded that on the main line with, I think, 2,600 tons behind it. So you get the subtleties. We've got a lot of variation within the sound file itself. Things like the turbochargers, which are very difficult to hear from almost the outside. But once the high-end power loop comes in, it's quite a long loop, that is, and you can hear that subtle turbocharger coming up. Yeah. And we've got obviously the differences with all the other variations within the class, So the sound file is the finish. Yeah.
Excellent. And you're happy with progress with that, and where you're at with it?
Yeah, I am. And there's some improvements we've made to the 60 throughout the development cycle. So unfortunately, it fell foul of the whole Chinese New Year thing. We was hoping they would be here to ship before Chinese New Year, so they were landing couple of months prior, but because they weren't fully through the production process by then, they were stopped, tools down, and then come back, and by the time the factories are built up speed again, obviously working to our standards, they've got to not just pick up tools and start straight away, they've got to make sure everything's right. So just to get them through to that stage, and there's a vast amount of them. I mean, we're not talking a few models here. There's thousands of models to be finished.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's quite a large production running, isn't it? Lots of different liveries as well, and you're going right through from the very beginning through to the present day as well. Yeah.
So 60001 is a hobby horse of mine, and one of the guys advising me on the project is a good friend of mine I've known for nearly 30 years, who was commissioning engineer on 60. So he was, from the late 80s, he was on the whole project. He made them work, he wrote the software and so on. So it's to have his input in 001 is what makes it special to me, because he's able to sit there and go, that cover there, we only put that on a Wednesday at Mickleover, and he can remember it, photographic memory. So it's, it's that first-hand account that goes with it. Again, we've included that in the booklet. We've got a little bit from David there, but yeah, so we've got right from 001 right through to the latest DCR machines. A few special things to come in the future as well, but we've got the whole spectrum.
Super. And you've also got the wagons to go with them as well in the PTAs.
Yes.
So yes. I always like PTAs. So you've got, obviously, just announced a new second production run of those. There's a few differences on there this time.
Yeah, so we've upgraded a few bits. There's, again, when the PTAs last came out, they were relatively early on in the company's timeline. We've evolved, but to do a new run of those, we wanted to bring them up to the standard of if we were doing them now. So we've changed from the battery-powered tail lamp to an electric one, track-powered tail lamp. There's a few other little subtle things that just elevate them to that next level and fit them in with our range better.
Yeah, because there's a few revisions to the bogies underneath in terms of fit and finish the parts.
Yeah,
as well,
and that's it. And as I say, it's just the little things. It's the sum of the little parts that bring it up to the level. And again, for a 5-wagon set, to be honest, it's quite a good price.
Yeah, and you've gone for some new liveries and some reruns of old liveries as well. I mean, it's like we've got the ARC set on here, which is exactly the correct choice for me and Mark.
Yes, totally.
But you've also moved on with the Yeoman collection to move it to a more recent period.
That gives us a new livery. We've got, again, the ARC is not the same as before. It's a slightly later version, so it's a darker shade of yellow as what was on the first run, because these were later in the timeline. And the same with the British Steel ones. We've got a different variation to what we had before. Yeah. So it's something new, but something the same at the same, in the same.
Yeah, I think this time as well, I might be wrong, but I think the first batch didn't have the rust-coloured interior on it.
No. So the interiors have been painted now in a more prototypical fashion.
It's nice to see that. It's such a small thing, but actually it does make a big difference to how the wagons are presented as well.
Yes.
And obviously presented with the ARC section here with the correct traction as well.
Yes, exactly. Yes, now we've got another one of the recent arrivals. The 50s are on the way. Yeah. Now these, we haven't fully demoed the sound on these yet, so you've got a bit of a treat to come with these. I put the sound file in the other day on my test track, and I could not, quite honestly, believe the volume and depth of the sound coming out of those, and it really is something special.
Yeah, the Class 50s do sound special anyway, so you can replicate that in model form.
Yeah, I think we're, without saying it too much, but I think we've nailed it. I think you'll be pretty impressed when you hear it.
We're looking forward to hearing that when the sound files come through. Because no one here today hasn't got a sound file.
No, unfortunately not. This is, I never thought about the 50, and the brought chips, everything else, and it was just 50 that slipped my mind, unfortunately. But we'll save that, and we'll make a big thing of it.
And obviously, the 50s have been very popular, haven't they, on pre-orders as well?
Yes, yeah. There will be a few left to hoover up when they come in. They're pretty much sold out, I think, on the original announcement. And then, obviously, run 2 to come. Yeah.
Obviously, you've got plenty of livery choice coming on these. You've got right from the very start as well, from the Class 50s up to the most modern with 5008.
Yeah, exactly. So we like to, again, try and tell a story. There is rhyme and reason why we pick the locos we do. Again, we're enthusiasts. Yep. We like to model the ones that we want to do personally, but also I think it gives us an angle to be able to second guess the public and say, actually, the customers want to buy this because it's a bit special, or it's got a connection to people.
Definitely. And then we move on to the second run of Class 31s. Now, the first batch of Class 31s, it feels like the dust has barely settled on their arrival at this point. I mean, it feels like half a minute ago our limited edition arrived and all the rest of your main run arrived for the first production run. Yeah. But the second run is now announced, and you've got another great collection of different liveries.
I know. And to be honest, the 31s have taken everybody by surprise. They're not what you would say. They're not your Deltics, your 50s, your 40s, that kind of, icon status. They're a bit of a go anywhere. They're almost a bit unloved. I've always liked a 31 personally, from my previous background. I've always liked a 31, but I think in the general populace, they sort of are that kind of middle ground. Yeah. And when they arrive, they've just taken everybody by storm, and people have loved them. Yeah. And it's just given us that confidence to go straight out with Run 2. They sold straight through, and they continue to do so. So the sales of these have been very good. I would advise people that if they've not pre-ordered already, to probably get one in. This one's already sold out.
The Gold Local one's gone already. And what we're seeing here, it's like a few days since you announced it. So.
I think it was a remarkable time. A few days it had gone. Yeah. The selection here is, again, something for everything. We've got 30s, we've got 31s, 31418 as an East Midlands resident myself. 31418 on table 18 was a big thing. 602, that kind of period in the early 2000s when it was on the Wessex stuff. Yeah. I'll say again, a bit of something for everyone.
Yeah, lots of good stories with each of these, really.
Yeah.
It's like the different periods, different liveries. I really do like the skinhead one as well. I think that's superb like that as well. So a great collection. So are there any amendments to the tooling for these? Any new features that are coming through for the run?
No, these are pretty much straight on the bat of the first run. There'll be, again, extra options like the sound-fitted 30s, which we couldn't do on the first one because we hadn't got the original Merley sound file, which again there's quite a story with that. We've managed to get archive recordings. We found some very good archive recordings in the process, so we've managed to lift sections out of it. So it is actually, it's not derived from something similar or the marine engine. It is actually a proper 30 sound file. But yeah, I mean, if you've got to run 131, that's what you expect. They're pretty something special, I say.
Definitely. Well, Steve, thank you very much for coming and joining us today and showing us all the latest samples from Accurascale. Obviously, so much going off here. There's some great opportunities, I think, here for modelers of lots of different periods as well. I could easily be swayed through 3 different periods from what's on the layout here today. Thank you very much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, you can keep up with all the latest Accurascale news and features through keymodelworld.com, and also you can see Accurascale at Model World Live with their stand and get a first-hand look at all these samples and many more. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.